What's going on, guys? Stefan here with you, S&E's Garage. Today we are in the shop with our GX470, and today we are going to be installing an Auxbeam control unit. So several videos ago with this truck, we went ahead and installed this front bumper with this light bar and those pod lights. The pod lights are wired up to the factory fog lights, so they come on and off with the fog lights, but we ran one standalone switch here in the truck. You'll see it right here, that little red guy right there. That is our switch for that light bar. Now, here's the problem. I plan on adding a lot more lighting to this vehicle. We are actually going to be doing pod lights here off of the hood hinges to give us some more peripheral light, off to the side of the truck. We're going to be doing pod lights under the wheel arches to kind of, light up the ground around the truck. And we're probably going to be doing some sort of lighting system in the rear at some point to go ahead and give us some light out the back, along with some other accessories that we plan on doing, because this is going to be a true overland vehicle when we are done with it. So instead of wiring, 3 or 4 switches under there in all kinds of different locations, I figured let's get this guy right here. It's going to make all of our switches basically in one centralized location. And it's going to allow us to do all of our wiring here up under the hood of the truck. And it's just going to make everything so much cleaner because I'm not going to have to run a ton of wires into the cabin. You're only going to have to run one wire into your cab. And that's this guy here. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Now, obviously, this truck is very modified, especially suspension. We did go ahead and delete the factory air suspension and the factory, I'm going to call it Magna Ride, how you can, set the damping. That's deleted. So what we went ahead and did is we got the Blue Dog Design Works transfer case panel here, made specifically for this vehicle, and it's going to repurpose that dead section of the panel where all of the information and all the switches were for the Magna Ride, and it's going to allow us to mount our Auxbeam controller right there. So the controller will be smack dab in the center of the truck, right next to my right knee, right where this cup holder is. This is actually a Blue Dog Design Works cup holder that I put in this not too long ago. So we're going to basically be repurposing that whole area for our controller. So let's go ahead. Before we go inside, let's start out here. And we're going to go ahead and figure out exactly where we're going to mount this. You'll see here, we do have our winch controller mounted here on this panel, so I don't know that I'm going to have any room on that to add the fuse box, because this thing is quite large actually. But what I was thinking about doing is sticking it right here, literally right on top of the plastic fuse panel. I think it'll look pretty good there, and it's in a central location here of the truck. It's close to the battery. So let's pop this cover off. Let's figure out what we're going to do here, and then we'll show you step by step what we figure out. So this is everything that your Auxbeam controller is going to come with. It's going to come with the controller itself. It's going to come with some installation hardware, bunch of extra fuses. It's going to come with some add a fuse connectors here. This is going to allow you to add a fuse. Basically, we have to pop the fuse cover off and find a switched fuse, so a fuse that only has power, an accessory, or on, because basically that's where this wire here is going to go, and that is going to be what's basically going to be the remote wire for this. It's going to turn this on and off. You're going to have a bunch of zip ties here, which is great. They're going to, make this nice and easy for you to install. Different bracketry for different ways you can install this. Again, we're going to be using the Blue Dog Design Works trim panel, so we're not going to be using any of this. And then it's going to come with several different extension cords here for the control panel to wire the control panel here to the fuse panel. It's going to screw in here. So let's start by taking our fuse panel cover off here, and let's find a nice switched fuse basically that we can find to get power to this unit here, and then we'll show you where we're at when we find it. Okay, so we've been doing some testing here, and what we came up with here is this 20 amp fuse here that looks like it's for the heated seat. Right now, if I touch power to this, I have no power. Now we're going to go ahead and turn the key on, and we're going to check to see what we get. Okay, so now if we turn this key on and we touch this 20 amp fuse, I now have power at both sides of the fuse. So that 20 amp fuse is what we are going to pull to go ahead and provide our Auxbeam controller with switched power. So let's go ahead and pull that 20 amp out. Let's go ahead and add our fuse, run the pigtail out of the fuse box, and then we can go ahead and pick a location to mount this. So off camera, we just went ahead and removed the shield here for our radiator. You'll see it there. And then I pulled the battery out. I had to pull the old relay harness that we were using to run that light bar out. I just didn't want to leave it in there if I wasn't going to use it anymore. So that's out, and right there, right above or right next to the brake booster, you'll see it right there, is going to be our chaseway, basically through the firewall, to go ahead and run the extension cable that is going to go from the switch panel here to the control panel. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm probably going to go with the longer one because we need to go across the dashboard. So we'll go with the longer one. I'll just zip tie the excess out of the way. And then we can go ahead and reconnect everything. We have to connect this, like I showed you, to the ATA fuse. This is going to plug into this guy here, and then we just have power and ground with this and this. So as far as mounting the fuse panel here onto the fuse panel, we just went ahead and drilled 2 small holes with our drill, and then we use the screws and nuts provided to go ahead and bolt this switch assembly up here on top of our factory fuse panel. Now, what we need to do next is go ahead and wire that red wire on the fuse panel there up to this ATA fuse we put in. Now, I did just slide a piece of heat shrink over this. I'm going to heat shrink this, make sure it's nice and watertight. You'll see our wire here going through the firewall already. You're going to see it in the car coming out. Again, we used the little hole that I showed you. That's going to be your best bet. It's right there. It's the easiest way to do it. That's the chaseway that I used to run the light bar, so I already knew about it. I already had it basically set up. So let's go ahead, connect that red wire, shrink the heat shrink, and put the fuse panel cover back on, and then we can start basically wiring everything, and then we'll start disassembling the interior to install this guy. Got the fuse panel on. You'll see we have our negative lead here. I'm going to ground it here at the fender. That's just the easiest spot to do it. It keeps clutter off of the battery terminal. And then we have our positive here. The end with the fuse closest to the end of the wire is going to go to the battery. You want the fuse as close to the battery as possible. And I'm probably just going to end up sticking it on here with this lead that goes to my winch. So at this point, we can go ahead and put our battery back in. You'll see I have my wire harness here for the light bar coming up. We're going to trim that to size after we get the battery in and kind of neaten everything up. And then, like I said earlier, we will jump inside. We just have to, like I said, connect our ground, connect our power. You'll see our little red wire here is already connected. It comes into the fuse panel. Up under here, there's a little chaseway you can use without having to modify the panel at all. So that's done. Let's get the battery in. Let's keep on going. Battery's back in. Everything's connected. We're just going to go ahead and wire up our light bar. I'm going to wire up the light bar to a 20 amp circuit. I don't quite think it needs a 30 amp. I want to save the 30s for like a larger accessory like onboard air or something like that. So the 20 amp circuit will be fine. That's going to be number 2 on the switch panel. So the positive for that guy is going to be here. The negative is going to be next to it. Now what you could do here is you could put some eyelets on the end of your wires. I unfortunately don't have any that small right now, so I'm just going to strip these and stick them in there, tighten the screws down, but I will go pick up some eyelets. Actually, let me just double check here. Let's make sure we don't have any eyelets, because if we do, I'm going to use them. And I don't believe I'm going to have any that are small enough. So yeah, we're just going to, wait a minute. Stand corrected. Let's see if these fit. If these fit, we'll put the eyelets on. If not, we're going to run it without them. Okay, so we have our wiring in for the light bar. That is, like I said, the first accessory that we're going to be using here. So before I rip this interior apart and start hiding wires, we just went ahead and plugged this guy in and turned my ignition on. And what you'll see here, if I hit the number 2, the light bar turns on and it turns back off. And then if I turn my key off, the switch panel turns off. So everything here is good. That's all wired. So now we can go ahead and start ripping this interior apart. Excuse me, I really don't feel like hearing that dinging. I'm sure you guys don't either. But now we can start ripping this apart to go ahead and install our panel here for the switch panel. So we're going to go ahead. I've done this already, but I totally forget how to do it. So let me go look at my old video, and we're going to show you guys how to take this apart. So we have our whole center console out here. I'm going to leave a link in the video description below to my video of replacing that panel. I don't see a reason for covering this twice on the channel. You guys can watch that video. It'll walk you through every step of the way to replacing that panel. So what you're going to see here is we have our new panel in. We transferred our boot over. Our switch panel is in. I installed these in the way I think I'm going to be doing them. We're going to be doing rock lights, so I just put them in the different locations. Like I said, I'm leaving the 30 amperes for if I do any like really power demanding accessories. So number 1, it looks like, and number 5 are going to stay blank, at least for the time being. So that's going to be these two. So I ran the bumper light bar. We're going to be doing the windshield mounts, like I told you, the pod lights. They are actually in this box. I'm waiting for the brackets. And then when we do our rock lights that are going to be under the wheel wells, I have that already predetermined here. So we're going to go ahead. What we can do now actually is hide our wire that we ran through the firewall that I have just hanging out here. We're gonna, this panel, you'll see I already have it kind of hanging down. We're just gonna zip tie it up, tuck it around, and then bring it up through here into this guy. We just need to make sure that we are not going to interfere with the transfer case shift boot or anything like that. So let's go ahead and get that done. So what you'll see right there is all of our excess wire. I'm gonna go ahead and tuck that up under that panel, and then we're going to go ahead, slide this piece back on, just making sure to plug back in everything you unplugged. Again, my other video will walk you through that whole process. So let's go ahead and get this on, slap it back together, and take it from there. So once you are done, this is what it should look like on the interior. You'll see it is nice and flush here. It looks really good. It looks like it, you know, belongs. And then when you turn your ignition on, you'll see the unit will power up, and then you have your buttons. So right now, like I said, all we have set up is the bumper light bar, but you'll see that it works. And as we add more stuff, now we don't have to run any more wiring into the inside of this truck. All of our wiring is done right here. It's nice and seamless, nice and easy. Don't have to run any more power wires to the battery, no more wires through the truck. It's all right here. And there you have it. All under the hood is all buttoned up, nice and neat. And you see our installation here is nice and tidy. Everything works, and we are happy with the end result. So if this video helped you, please like, share, and subscribe. I'm going to leave a link to this guy in the video description below, the Auxbeam controller. I think this is a great add-on for your GX470 if you plan to add some electrical accessories like us. It's just going to streamline your whole installation for all of your stuff, because now everything's right here and all of your switches are in one place. So again, please like, share, subscribe, stay tuned. We'll see you guys next time.